right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the world's most exciting classroom. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. I know I say this pretty much every week, but it's going to be another jam-packed hour. We are going to visit the ship, which has just set sail along the coast of Chile. We are going to meet one of our Darwin leaders who's going to tell us about their project working with a conservation organization in Uruguay. We're going to connect with the National Marine Aquarium live in Plymouth, and then we're going to squeeze in a Kahoot quiz, an experiment of the week, catch up on our experiment from 2 weeks ago, and then we have some curiosities to get to. So like I said, it's going to be a jam-packed week as per usual. Let's start off with our map. Let's see where the ship is right now and what's been going on. So we should have that up on the screen nicely for you right now. If we back up a little bit, you can see I love this view here as we look at the continent of South America. You can see the progress we've made along the coast. You can see where we cut through the channel here to Punta Arenas, and then where we've made our way up along the fjords of Chile to Conception. And now Valparasio is the port that we have just left. So let me zoom in a little bit closer here. Here's our Oosterschelde, and you can see the progress that we have made already. Very cool. As per always, you can click on these little images here and you can see what this ship has been up to. So we have a few little pictures here. Let's see if I can zoom in even closer here for everybody. There we go. So you can see a beautiful shot preparing the topsails. You can see the ship on the water. So apparently there's been a little bit of action here. It looks like it was going about 8 knots. We had a little bit of rocking. So some of the newbies on board the ship were getting used to a little bit of that action. And so you can see a nice little shot here. Some of looks like maybe a sunset here with the Oosterschelde there in the background. Very, very cool. All right, let's come back from that screen share, and I want to share a little video. So we've met Tom before. Tom shared with me this morning the leg video sailing from Conception to Valparaiso. So I'm going to share that video right now. All right, so some amazing footage from another beautiful leg of sailing on board the Oosterschelde. I'm going to bring in, we have a live uplink from the ship right now, so let's get them in here. There we go. Hey, Grant. Hey, Jesse. How you doing?
Great, Joe. Nice to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. So, Grant, you were just showing, you shouted out about the map. So I'm going to share my screen one more time so we can share this here. There is a way here to turn off the camera and turn on the birds so you can see the birds that Grant has been documenting. So if I scroll down here to this little patch and click, we can see a nice little list of some of these look like some marine species you've been catching, Grant.
Absolutely, yeah. We're working on adding some photos as well for the species as we go, but you know, it's all a work in progress. But yeah, it's really cool that we can depict the bird surveys that we're doing visually on the map.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. So those joining new today, Grant has been on board many of the legs of the journey so far, conducting an amazing bird survey really across the planet that we've traveled so far. Grant, what's our species count at right now?
I think we're at like 344 species since leaving Plymouth, and that's with around 400 hours of systematic bird counts.
Yeah, amazing. And so we have Jesse with us today. Jesse is my colleague at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. He just arrived on board the Oosterschelde. Jesse, how's your experience been so far?
It's been an adventure. We started off, we had to get out of port first, so our anchor was stuck in a shipwreck that we didn't know was there. So we got to jimmy that out over several hours. We had to leave about 5 hours late, but that was an absolute hoot. They asked for a volunteer to go up in the mast to help sort of tie up some sails in the right way. So obviously my hand has never shot up so fast in my entire life. And there's some videos of that on the DARWIN200 Instagram that we've been sharing too at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. So some really exciting times to begin. And then it turns out that all the rumors about being a sailor and getting out to sea are true. And on your first time, Grandy has been on the boat for a long time, so he's experienced a lot of this by now. His seasick days are over. Mine are not. It was quite the rollicking night. It was like being in a washing machine for the first day. But we made great time, so that's something at least.
All right. Well, glad to still have you here. We have lots of events to do over the next couple of weeks, so that's good. Grant, tell us a little bit about what did you get up to in port? What were you doing before you set sail?
So in port, we had two Darwin Leader projects. They're both working in the wetlands. So one was working on the impact of invasive dogs on the native species there. Then another project was on the impact of, I think it was just overall wetland conservation. But it was two amazing projects. Then we also had a really big benefit event on Wednesday night where we had a lot of sponsors come and, you know, a big you know,
do
big
all
event.
of it.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And so, Jesse, you still have your journey's just getting started. What are your plans for the next few days?
I'm going to get better. I'm going to heal this nice fancy sunburn streak that I've got. It looks like a racing stripe, I think, which is kind of fun. I'm going to eat some delicious food. Lucas and the kitchen are like right over there. And I know we've been getting a lot of questions from kids about what we've been eating. It is not hardtack and biscuits. We've had like some delicious casserole stuff. We've had cakes. There's unlimited coffee, which is like a dream for someone like me. So I'm going to eat some great food. I want to see some bioluminescence off the back of the ship, which I hear is possible. And I did crawl myself up the stairs last night at like 4 a.m. and look at the stars. And you have never seen better stars in your life, as we're off the coast of Chile, which is really famous for its observatories because the air is so clear and because the desert is so dry. So it's a really special place in the world to see stars, and I'm excited to see a little more of that too.
All right. Absolutely amazing. And then Grant, what are you up to for the next few weeks? Are you on for a while? Do you get a break soon? What's going on with you?
So right now, I mean, we're still sailing in the Humboldt Current, and so I'm not expecting too many new species because it's a, you know, but anyway, when we get to Callao, I'll actually get to go home to the USA for a little bit. So I think I'm going to spend a little bit of time in Lima, explore Peru a little bit, and then go visit some family before being all ready to join in the Galapagos.
Yeah, we are counting down. We are under 2 months to Galapagos action. That's going to be amazing 3 weeks when we arrive there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, Grant, Jesse, thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to switch gears and meet a Darwin leader in a minute, but it's great to have an uplink from the ship, and I think we'll probably see you guys this afternoon as well.
Fantastic. See you soon, man.
All right. Thanks, guys. All right. So we are going to meet a Darwin leader now. She was on board the ship. She came down while we were in Punta del Este in Uruguay, and she was able to work on a conservation project with sea turtles. So I'm going to bring Blandine in with us right now. How are we doing today?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. And you?
Good, good. And where are you beaming in from today? Where do we have you?
I'm from France now, and just have a day off today, so great time to meet you.
Oh, very good timing to get to steal you for a little bit. So, yeah, we're jumping around quite a bit today. We had, well, I'm in Canada. We just had a connection from Chile, and now we have you in France. So we're moving around the world a little bit. Very cool. All right. Well, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about, what you do, and then we'll start to talk a little bit about the project you worked on.
Yeah, so my name is Blandine. I'm from France. So I've been just graduate last year in September from an engineering school in agriculture and environment. And so now I'm looking for a job and doing some stuff for ecology and environment here in France. So I'm still looking for a job, and I did last year an internship in a research center in Scotland with where I work with fish, salmon and trout, and it was really interesting. And it's where I start looking and apply for DARWIN200 project, and I have been selected to go in Uruguay to meet great people and work with an organization for sea turtle, and it was really great. So yeah.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about the country. Tell us a little bit about your experience in Uruguay. How did you find it? Did you enjoy meeting the people, the food? What was it like?
Yeah, so in Uruguay, I didn't know nothing at all about Uruguay before going there, and it was just amazing. I wish I could have stayed more than just 1 week. It was way too short. People there, like Uruguayan people and also people in a ship, were just amazing, really incredible. To meet everyone, every people were passionate about conservation, about sharing knowledge and everything they know. So it's what I remember most about these experiences, and it was just amazing. And so I work on the sea turtle conservation in Uruguay with the NGO Carumbe. It's the only NGO for sea turtle conservation in Uruguay, and people from the conservation were really amazing. I work with the director and co-founder, Andres Estrades, and he was really nice and so kind with me and my camera operator to tell us everything he knew about sea turtle, about conservation, about threat on sea turtle. It was just amazing, and we are really happy about our work together. And I hope I will meet them again to work again, maybe one day.
All right, very cool. Well, as we know, our Darwin leaders aren't just there to see the sites. They are also working and bringing the stories to the general public and to students. So creating their 3 videos, looking at the problem, the conservation work, and then looking towards the future and what other work could be done. So what do you think? Should we play your first video? Let's check it out.
Yes.
All right. Let's get that video going. Here we go. Let's check out episode 1.
Buenas, I'm Blandine, engineer in agronomy and passionate about species conservation. Today, I'm in Uruguay with DARWIN200 to show the amazing work people have been doing for sea turtle. The non-governmental organization Carumbe is an organization working for sea turtle conservation in the country. With Andres Estrades, its co-founder and director, we spend the week traveling through the country to meet devoted people working for protecting our environment. Let me introduce you to Andres. There is 3 ways of finding him. First, Andres always carries mate with him. Okay, maybe that doesn't really count in Uruguay.
Second, Andres always wears turtles t-shirt. And lastly, you can look for the tallest person in the room. And this week, it could also be fun with the smallest person in the room.
Mi nombre es Andrés Estrades, me dedico a la investigación y conservación de tortugas marinas y actualmente trabajo como director ejecutivo de una organización no gubernamental llamada CARUM-B aquí en Uruguay.
Andres is a passionate and very motivated man working for what he loves. When he was 20, Andres fell in love with sea turtle, especially leatherback turtles, and he never left them after that. He created CARUM-B to share his knowledge and show people the great beauty of nature and especially the ocean.
Junto con 11 personas más, estudiantes de biología, nosotros teníamos la inquietud de explorar y conocer acerca de las tortugas marinas, basados en experiencias en playas de anidación en otros países como Brasil, Costa Rica y México. Y básicamente luego de esas experiencias decidimos retornar a nuestro país, a Uruguay, y continuar los estudios en el área de tortugas marinas que no se sabía nada. Entonces empezó todo un proceso de salir a explorar, salir a buscar información, a contactarnos con los pescadores, con las comunidades costeras para aprender más sobre ellas.
While he was studying and learning about turtle, Andres realized that conservation work did not only limit to working with wild nature, but more importantly with human and society. Conservation has to be multidisciplinary. That has been a very important motto in CARUM-B since the beginning.
That concept that it's really not so recent, but nowadays it's very clear, the concept of one health, that the health of these ecosystems has a lot to do with our own health. So we must learn, we must know what is happening around us if you want to be healthy as human beings.
CARUM-B founder understood that working together, working with and for people and coastal communities is the main important thing to help sea turtle as well. The organization has 3 areas of action: scientific research, rehabilitation, and education.
Nuestra tercera área de acción es la educación ambiental. Es un trabajo fundamental para el trabajo de la conservación de especies animales y sus ecosistemas. En un trabajo interdisciplinar, como decía, junto con maestros, educadores, más el saber de los biólogos, hace que podamos crear programas de trabajo junto con las maestras dedicados a los niños, en el trabajo en los liceos con los adolescentes, pero también en el trabajo en las comunidades costeras junto con los pescadores, los pobladores locales y el público en general.
For 25 years, CARUM-B has been working with fishermen. They are the people of the sea. They are the first to interact with sea turtle. And one of the main threats for sea turtle in Uruguay is bycatch. When fishing occurs, and especially methods such as use of trawler, pelagic long line, drift netting, turtles we are feeding in the water may be caught in the nest. Stuck there, they may die from asphyxia. If 30 years ago fishers ate sea turtles they caught, today, thanks to CARUM-B, things have changed. Paola and her family used to eat turtle soup, but today, as she told us, CARUM-B movement made people not want to bring turtles to the table anymore. And now, she and her family work with the association to protect them. Education, sharing knowledge, experiences, working together with experts, young people and coastal communities have been and will always be the work of CARUM-B in Uruguay.
Can construct again a better future for all of us. And the way to construct that is working together without barriers of gender, of nationalities or whatever. And I expect that we can really do it. So work together for that.
Muchas gracias to Andrés, our sponsor, and everyone who made this project possible. Check out our next episode to learn more about the work of CARUM-B.
All right. Very, very cool, Blandine. That looks like you had a great experience. You met some amazing people. We've got a few questions here in the chat, so I'm going to share a few of those questions with you before we let you go for today. And the first one is, so there's 7 species of sea turtles. Which sea turtles does the project work with? Does CARUM-B work with?
Yeah, so in Uruguay, there is about over the 7 sea turtle in the world. There is, I think, if I'm right, 5 there, and they work with all of them. But in Uruguay, the area is more not for nesting season, but more for feeding. So sea turtle come just in the water, not. There is more and more on the beach, actually, sometimes, but it's more on a sea for feeding, and it's like leatherback. I don't remember in English, but leatherback as well. But most of them, but only 5 over the 7 sea turtle species there is in Uruguay. And the association work with sea turtle, but as well with freshwater turtle sometimes, because there is some in Uruguay as well. So it's really multiple. Yeah.
All right. I've got a question from a class online here about 2 questions actually about sea turtles. The first is, which is the biggest species of sea turtle? And then they also want to know, what can we do? What could students do to help?
Yeah, so the biggest species is one you see, you can see on the video, is the leatherback. There can be like really, really small when they burst, like a hand, but they can be so much bigger when they're adult. And I was really surprised when I saw one of bones, like I think we can see on the video, me with bones with Andres as well. He showed me, and it was just the head of the turtle, and it was like very huge. Like this, so it's the biggest. And what we can do, sea turtles are under many threats in the world, and the most of them is, like as I said in the video, is fishing, overfishing, and bycatch, and also the plastic pollution in the water. And the destruction of their habitats. So what we can do is try to in our own scales, like try to reduce our plastic waste and to protect the marine habitats, because it's where they need to feed, where they live. They give birth on the beach as well. On the beach, there is also many threats for them, because when they come to nest in the beach, other human structure or human habitation, or as well other animal on the beach or pollution on the beach as well, are really threaten their nest and the baby turtle. So what we can do is just the most is reduce our pollution, our plastic pollution, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something everybody can do in the classroom with the reusable water bottles. You can get metal straws now that you can wash afterwards if you really like to use your straws. Take silverware with you, bamboo cutlery and things like that. So lots of stuff we can do in the classroom. Very, very cool. All right, one more question for you, and it is about your time there. What was the most challenging about telling the story, about collecting what you needed for the story? What did you find the most challenging?
That's a good question. So to be honest, at the beginning, our topic should have been on fishing, the impact of the fishing on sea turtle. Unfortunately, we could not have meet a lot of fishermen because they were working and they were not all there. So with how my camera operator and Andres, the director, we decided to show how people there are passionate, how Andres were passionate. So the most challenging thing was to change topic and to try to make a movie about how Andres created his association and how he shared his passion about sea turtle. And it's what we really wanted to show in our movies, in our 3 movies. And it's a passion about sea turtle and conservation of species, and also how it is important to work together. And it's not something really hard to see because, like in our movie, during our time there, we meet a lot of people working together and passionate about conservation. So, yeah, that's it, I think, if I fit something right.
No, very cool. Well, Blandine, it sounds like you had an absolutely amazing experience with the DARWIN200 as a Darwin leader. You got to visit a beautiful part of the world, meet some amazing people. I'm so glad you were able to have that experience.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was amazing, and I will remember that for a long time. Yeah.
All right, very
That's
cool.
great.
All right, well, enjoy your day off. Hopefully we'll get to connect
You
with you
too.
again as the ship
Yes.
sails around the world. But for now, we'll say goodbye and thank you for
Yeah,
sharing
thank you
your
very much. Goodbye,
experiences.
everyone.
All right,
Bye.
see ya.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so just a quick update as where we are. We are going to very shortly join the Ocean Conservation Trust at the National Marine Aquarium in Plymouth in the United Kingdom. After that, we'll have our Kahoot quiz together. So it's a bit quieter week because a lot of classrooms are on spring break on their March breaks, but we'll see who we've got with us and who wants to play a little bit of Kahoot. And then we have to catch up on our experiments. Our can crushing experiment from 2 weeks ago. We have a brand new experiment today. And then we are also going to have our curiosities to wrap up for this week. So let's see. I can see backstage, we do have the Ocean Conservation Trust with us. It looks like they might be playing with their cameras a little bit, but let's bring them in and let's see if they're ready. And then maybe we can help them with the camera too, if they need a little bit of help. So let's go. Hey, Becky, how are you? Oh, Becky, can you grab the mute for us?
Hi, Joe.
There you are. Hi, Becky.
How are you today?
Good, good. It is great to have another trip to the National Marine Aquarium. It's great to connect with Ocean Conservation Trust. How have things been going?
Lovely to be here as always. We love streaming into the world's most exciting classrooms. We are great, but as you have very astutely noticed, I was having a fiddle with my camera because I brought my lovely friend Emily, who's
Hi,
going to
Emily.
be our amazing camera person today, but it's on the front-facing camera, and I was trying to sneakily work out how to swap that around unsuccessfully.
Let's try a quick switch here. So there should be a settings option on the phone. And if you can find that settings option, then it should have an option to go between the front and back camera. There might be, depending on your phone, if it's an Android or an iPhone. I think we just turned the camera off.
Oh, well, that's the opposite of what we wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna accomplish this. We are smart, intelligent women.
Yeah, it's different depending on what kind of phone you have, but there should be an option.
There
we go.
go.
We did it. Or you did it. I just watched.
No, Emily did it in its absolute entirety. So I'm going to give her the camera. Can you see me okay?
We got you, Becky. So I know you guys just had a term or spring break. Is that over now in the UK?
It has not even started yet.
What?
But we do have lots of people coming to visit us here in the aquarium, and it's suddenly got a little bit busy in the room that I am standing in. So I'm going to do my best to be nice and loud for you. And if you can't hear me at all, or if you're struggling, please do let me know. But I'm going to do my best to make sure that you can hear me. And Emily is doing a cracking job behind the camera to make sure that you can see me. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Fantastic. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get Emily to follow me out of this room for a moment, because what I want to talk to you about, I can actually show you out of the window of the aquarium. That'll give some of these people some time to have a look at the animals, and it might be a little bit quieter when we come back. Now, the reason I want to take you out to the windows of the aquarium is because there's something very exciting just outside of our aquarium. And the reason I wanted to talk to you about it is because I was thinking about this most exciting classroom. And I was thinking about all the amazing classes around the world that tune into this. You guys have people from America, from Canada, from Portugal, from India, from all over the world, as well as some followers from the United Kingdom. And that made me think that not everyone knows that much about the little spot that we're filming from. And I wanted to fill you in on some of the exciting creatures, habitats, and ocean-based news that are happening here in Plymouth at the moment. So Plymouth is all the way down on the south of England. It's in the southwest, and it's a beautiful part of the world that is very fortunate enough to be on the coastline. If Emily follows me just a little way, you will be able to see just out our window, we have got the ocean right on our doorstep. It is a little bit of a rainy day today. It's not the most beautiful sunshine that we would like to show you, but it is still a fantastic view. And the thing that's really special about this little bit of sea that we have next to us in Plymouth is that it's been designated the first ever National Marine Park in the whole entire country. So Plymouth Sound is the UK's first and only National Marine Park, which is something that we are so proud of. Now you might be thinking, I don't know what a National Marine Park is. I've never heard of that before. And that's okay, because you're not the only one. A National Marine Park is, I tell you what, the best way, think of a national park that you'd find on land. We have Dartmoor National Park quite close to us here in Plymouth. In America, you've got loads of national parks, haven't you? You've got Yellowstone National Park, Grand Canyon National Park. Australia, you've got the Blue Mountains National Park. There's loads of them across the world, and they're places where humans can go and explore nature. They can be surrounded by some beautiful wildlife. They can do some really fun recreational activities, and they can enjoy surrounding themselves in wildlife and in nature. And a National Marine Park is exactly the same, just wetter. So a National Marine Park is somewhere that you can go and enjoy being in or on or under or next to the water. There's loads of great activities you can do in Plymouth Sound National Marine Park. There's a really strong community of people who like to go sea swimming, even in this weather. There's paddle boarding that you can do. There's a beautiful coastal path where you can walk your dog or take a lovely nice walk and watch the ocean, look out for animals, look out for birds. You could go to our beautiful beaches and go rock pooling. There's loads and loads of different ways you can enjoy being in, on, under or near Plymouth Sound National Marine Park. It was designated in 2019, and just this year, Plymouth Council got awarded loads of money to make this National Marine Park the best one ever. Over the next 5 years, Plymouth is going to invest loads of money and loads of time in getting everyone involved in the National Marine Park. It's not just for us here in Plymouth, it's for people all over the country, visitors who want to come by, who want to enjoy it, who want to have some fun. So, if you are near Plymouth, if you're visiting England at any time coming up, we invite you to come in and enjoy being in, on, under or near our National Marine Park. Now that you've got a little bit of info, a little bit of background, should we go and explore some of those animals that we can find in the National Marine Park? You will be very lucky to hear, very grateful to hear, I am very lucky that we don't need to go outside to meet these animals, because we're going to go into our Plymouth Sound exhibit here at the aquarium. So the first room in our aquarium is dedicated to the amazing animals that live in the National Marine Park, which means we get to explore some of these really cool creatures from the warmth of the aquarium. Now the first animal we're going to meet, we'll do a little guessing game. This animal has got an exoskeleton. So they've got their skeleton is like a strong shell outside of their body. This animal has got pincers for snapping and cracking. But it's not a crab, they're a little bit bigger. Can you guess what animal we're going to show you next? Have a think, have a turn to your neighbour, shout it out loud. If you shouted lobster, then give yourself a little lobster pincer round of applause, because you're absolutely correct. If Emily squeezes in, she can show you our friend Larry, who is hiding in his cave. Larry is a European lobster. You might not be able to see super clearly because he's hiding in the shadows there, but he's a blue colour. He's a lovely blue colour. Oh, sorry, our camera's getting a little bit excited to see Larry there. He's a lovely blue colour, and on the front, he's got two big old pincers. The one closer to the screen that you can see just here, where's my pointing finger? The one closest to the screen just here is the larger of the two pincers, and that's really good for crushing the shells of the animals that Larry wants to have for dinner. And on the opposite side, hiding at the back there, there's another pincer that's a bit smaller and a bit sharper. This pincer acts more like some scissors for cutting and snipping through things. And both of these pincers make Larry an excellent hunter because he can crush the shells of his prey and eat the delicious meat inside. Now, there's something that I think is really, really cool about lobsters that I would like to share with you all today. But I must be honest, this fact is a little bit gross. I hope that you guys like a gross story, because here comes the grossest one about lobsters. What you might not know, friends, is that lobsters are some of the chattiest animals in the whole ocean. Now, they don't talk to each other like you or I do, because they don't have voice boxes. And even if they do, they're underwater. They'd sound like this. That's not very good. And look at those giant pincers. They can't text with those, can they? They can't do any sign language. No, no, no. Lobsters communicate in a very unique way. What they actually do when they want to talk to another lobster is they do a little wee out of their eyeballs. Can you believe that? There will be a special chemical that they can add to their urine so that when it's released through their eyeballs, it communicates a different message to other lobsters. It might be an angry message saying, "Get out of my cave." Or it might be maybe a little flirty message if there's a lady lobster that Larry wants to take on a date. What do you think about that, guys? Weeing out of your eyeballs to communicate? Doesn't sound very good to me. I don't know about you, but if any of you have got a little crush on maybe a boy or a girl in your class and you want to ask them out, I do not recommend doing it by weeing on them. I don't think it'll work, and I'm not taking responsibility for the outcome. All right, let's go and find some other animals, guys. We're going to come to the centre of our Plymouth Sound exhibit, because in the middle we've got an amazing habitat that really represents the habitats in the National Marine Park. We've got a giant rock pool. There's loads of different animals in this rock pool. We can have a look and see who we can see. Over on the sides here, we've got these little pink spiky balls. I wonder if you can see those. These little spiky balls. These are actually sea urchins. Those spikes are really great protection to stop any other animals just gobbling them up and having them for dinner. We've also got lots and lots of starfish in our rock pool. Let's see if we can find some starfish, Emily. We might need to come around to the other side. Come on, gang, let's see what we can find. Oh, there's a few starfish down here, and some of them look like they might have just had their dinner. So we've got a starfish on the other side of the rock pool there, and we've got a squished up one in the bottom. And actually, if I come this way, I've seen what I can only describe as a huddle, a cuddle, a pile of starfish sitting right here on the rocks. Can you guys see those nice and clearly? Those are some amazing spiny starfish. And I think there might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starfish all having a little cuddle. That's very nice, isn't it? Starfish, I think, are a super, super underrated animal. Some people, if you can believe this, gang, think that starfish are boring. And I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. Starfish are really, really cool animals. This species of starfish has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arms. And on the underside of each one of those arms, they've actually got hundreds and hundreds of tubular feet. Those tubular feet are really, really important to help them stick onto the rocks. You can see them doing a great job of holding on there. Now that is really important if you live in a rock pool environment, because think about what it would be like as the tide comes in or the tide comes out. That's massive amounts of water washing in and washing out. And if you weren't holding on tight, you're going to be in danger of getting washed away. Maybe you're going to end up in a different rock pool hundreds of meters away. Maybe you're going to end out in the open ocean. That'd be a disaster. So those tubular feet help our starfish friends hold on to that rock nice and tight and keep stable in their rock pool habitat. But those tubular feet, they've got another job that our feet definitely can't do. And I hope you're ready, because we're going to get a bit gross again, gang. This is something that our feet definitely can't do. And I'm really grateful for that, because if they could, oh my goodness, I would not be happy. Those tubular feet not only help them move and help them hold on, but they can also taste. They're almost like little tongues, so that everywhere the starfish goes, they can taste. Now that's pretty useful if where you're going is delicious, if you were inside a chocolate shop, but they're not there in the ocean, where there's rocks and algae and fish poop. And everywhere those starfish go, they can taste everything in that water. Oh, imagine if your feet had tongues on the bottom. Or think about where you've been today, gang. Been walking around your house, that's probably okay. Have any of you been outside? Imagine walking along a pavement and all the gross things on the floor there. Have any of you been to the toilet yet? Imagine tasting a bathroom floor. Oh my goodness, absolutely disgusting. It doesn't even bear thinking about. And I hate to tell you this, friends, that's not even the only disgusting thing about starfish. Now, I've actually got a starfish here to show you. This is a real starfish that is no longer alive, and it's going to help me demonstrate the next gross thing I want to talk about. I don't think any of you are going to have any starfish in your classroom, so why don't you show me your starfish hands, and then take your other hand and make it into a pointing finger. Because I want you to guess where on the starfish its mouth is. Bottom, top, end of the arms. Have a little guess. You can talk to your neighbours. You can see if you can work it out. Where on the starfish do you think its mouth is? If you guessed that it's right here on the underside, then you are absolutely correct. Nailed it. Good job, gang. That is where the starfish's mouth is. And when it's time for the starfish to have its dinner, it doesn't do it the same way you or I do. It does not just take a bite of its sandwich. No. It uses those tubular feet that we just talked about to move the food right into the center, right there where its stomach is. Now, right there where its mouth is, sorry. Now that mouth is not as big as its stomach, and that stomach wants to get filled. So what the starfish does, instead of taking a bite, is it goes, there's a rumbling inside. It moves up the starfish's body, and then it goes, and the starfish throws up its own stomach outside of its mouth. So now the mouth is outside of the starfish, and it wraps around the food, and it starts digesting externally. All of that stomach acid is doing its job, squishing down the food, making it soft, making it small. And when it's soft and small enough, that starfish will suck it all back up again, stomach and all, like a seafood milkshake. Well, I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think it is the most disgusting way to eat your dinner, and that is not how I will be having my dinner this evening. I hope you won't either. So those are some pretty cool facts about starfish. If Emily swings around, there is a very cool fish just coming by there. That is one of our flatfishes. That's a place. Do you want to know something really cool about flatfish before we move on? They don't actually start their life flat. They look like they should. That's how we always see them. But when they're born, they're more torpedo-shaped. They've got an eye on each side of their body, and they swim like this. And then one day, when they're not very old, they get a bit tired, and they lay down, and they take a nap. and they nap for days. And while they're napping, their body flattens out. They go a little bit lighter to blend in with the sand on the bottom. And that eye that's on the bottom, that will migrate, that will actually move all the way around to the top. So now our flatfish is flat. It's nice and camouflaged to the sand. And it's got two eyes at the top of its body so that it can look up and keep an eye on anything happening above it. That's pretty cool, isn't it? They only do it once. They can't go from flat to torpedo shaped again. They are now going to live their lives flat and on the bottom of the seafloor. Pretty cool, huh? I reckon we've got time to see one more animal. So we're going to go round the corner and we're going to see if we can find my favourite animal in this exhibit. This animal is very, very good at hiding, so he might not be out and about, but we'll have a little peek around the corner and see if we can find him. Should we do another guessing game to guess who it is? Well, this animal is very... Oh, sorry, gang, our camera's trying to make an escape there. This animal is very, very smart. This animal is very, very good at hiding, which is why we might not be able to see him. This animal has got 3 hearts. He's got 9 brains. Have you guessed yet? I'm going to give you one more clue. This animal has got 8 arms. And I hope that gave it away that this animal is my friend, Barbie the octopus. And there's Barbie out and about saying hello. I know that I've introduced some of you to Barbie before, so I won't spend too much time here. But for anyone that missed that World's Most Exciting Classroom episode where we met Barbie, I thought it was worth swinging back by, because Barbie is absolutely one of our most charismatic and popular animals here at the aquarium. And something really interesting has happened since we last spoke about Barbie. If you saw the episode before, you will have known that I introduced Barbie as a female, because that was our understanding. But it turns out that it's a little bit more difficult to understand the sex of an octopus than I realised. We had some marine biologists come in, do some extra studies, and it turns out Barbie's a boy. So that was very exciting news. We haven't changed his name. We don't want to confuse him, but it's super cool to know that Barbie is a boy, which makes a lot of sense because he's been much more confident than some of the female octopuses that we've had in the aquarium before. Barbie's been a great addition. You might see, if Emily takes a little step back here, that Barbie is a very lucky octopus because he's got this main tank here where he can hang out, and he loves hanging out in the cave there. That's Barbie's favourite part of his house. But if he so wishes, Barbie can go for a little adventure. He can squeeze through this tube here, and he can find himself in a second tank. That's right, my friends. Barbie's got a holiday home. He has got not one but 2 options of where to spend his day. But he is an absolute homebody, and he will more often than not be found in his original tank, hanging out in his cave. He's a really, really smart octopus, so we make sure that we give him loads of enrichment, which is the word for making sure that some of our smarter animals are always occupied. He plays games, he gets played with, and his food gets delivered in new and interesting ways so that he's got to work out some puzzles and some challenges to keep those brains of his active and engaged. I think that's probably all we've got time for here at the National Marine Aquarium. So I'd like to say a massive, massive thank you for coming along, for tuning in, and for learning about Plymouth Sound National Marine Park and some of our cool animals that live here. I'll pass you back to Joe now. Thanks very much.
All right. Becky, thank you so much for an amazing tour of Plymouth Sound. Exciting news about the National Marine Park. Congratulations. Very cool. And thanks for introducing us to some of that marine life that lives just off your doorstep.
Yeah, you're welcome. Pleasure to do so. I know that England sometimes get a bad rep for having cold water. Everyone thinks it's green and there's nothing in there, but it is teeming with life, and I'm so happy to be able to share it with you guys today.
All right. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Emily, for the camera work. We can't wait for our next trip out to Plymouth with Ocean Conservation Trust. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah. All All right, very cool. One last look at our octopus before we say goodbye. We have to get to some Kahoot action. So let me share my screen. Let's see who's joining us today. Again, I know it's spring break, so I know it's a quieter crowd, but let's see if there's anyone out there to play a little bit of Kahoot with us. So remember, there is 2 types of questions. We'll have some multiple choice. We'll have some true and false. It is starting up here on my end, so I am going to move it to my second screen, and then I'm going to hit start, and it's going to give us our PIN number. So here we go. You need to go to kahoot.it, and it's going to ask you for that PIN number, 1864768. If you're in a classroom and you have something at your seat, maybe a tablet, maybe a Chromebook or a laptop, you can join that way. If not, no big deal. Maybe your teacher could pop it up at the front of the room and you could shout out your answers to him or her. We do have students who join from home, so you can scan that QR code and it will bring you in nice and front and center on a phone or a tablet. We are going to have 5 questions today, true and false, multiple choice. The quicker you put in those correct answers, the more points you are going to get. If the answer is wrong, there will be no points. So I can see we have a few students, a few classrooms coming in to join us. I'm going to give it maybe 10 or 15 more seconds, and then we'll play a quick round together because we have to get to our experiments before we say goodbye for today. So PIN number 1864768 after you join kahoot.it, or scan that QR code and it will bring you directly in. All right, looks like we're going to get a quiet round today, but that's okay. Let's see how well our classrooms do. I'm going to share my screen and then we are off. So counting us in with 3 seconds. And here we go. A few questions about turtles, a few questions about the aquarium. So how many species of sea turtles are there in the world? Was it 4, 5, 7, or 10? So how many species of sea turtles are there in the world? 4, 5, 7, or 10? All right, good job, crew. It is absolutely 7. We learned that there are 5 species in Uruguay. They don't really come there to nest on the beaches. They come there more to feed offshore, which then gets them into trouble, caught in fishing nets and things like that. So we call that bycatch. All right, Amiable Dingo is in first place. We have a true and false coming your way. To be healthy, we don't have to worry about protecting the ecosystems around us. Is that true or is that false? So to be healthy, we don't have to worry about protecting the ecosystems around us. True or false? Okay, that is absolutely false. Blandine talked about One Health. And One Health is the idea that if we take care of the planet and the world around us, we'll also be taking care of our own health. And of course, all the other plants and animals that live in the ecosystem. Ooh, Bronze Crab is taking the lead. Let's go to our next question. It is a true or false. Plymouth Sound is the only national marine park in the United Kingdom. Is that true or is that false? That Plymouth Sound is the first and only national marine park in the United Kingdom. True or false? All right, that is absolutely true. The first national marine park in the UK. Knowing the UK the way I do, it is a beautiful coastal place. So I have a feeling there'll be many more national marine parks named in the future. But for now, it is the only one and the first one in the UK. All right, Bronze Crab is still holding on to that spot. Our next question is a true and false. Lobsters can pee out of their eyes to communicate with each other. Is that true or is that false? Lobsters can pee out of their eyes to communicate with each other. True or false? Got a few more seconds to get your answer in. That is absolutely true. So many different animals do things in different ways than we do, and peeing out of your eye to communicate is definitely very, very different. That puts the groovy emu. So every class has had a chance in first place. Let's go to our final question and see where we end up. So where is a starfish's mouth? We have on top of its body, we have underneath its body, on the ends of its arms, or they don't have one. So we have 4 options there. On top of the body. Oh, quick. We didn't even get to the end. All the groups got their answers in. So underneath its body is absolutely correct. Good job, crew. Let's take a look at our podium. In third place, we have the amiable dingo. In second place, we've got the bronze crab. And in first place, we have the groovy email. Good job, crew. I'm going to come back from that screen share now, hit that stop sharing button, and then I am going to put up a email here, classroom@darwin200.com. If your class, if you're in that class, if you are the groovy emu, send us a message and we will send you your gift card prize. So the groovy emu. So good job, crew. Thanks to everybody for joining us live today. Okay, we need to look at our experiment before we wrap up. So let's take a look at last week's, actually 2 weeks ago experiment where we crushed a pop can. So let's take a quick look at that here. Grab the video and I'm going to show a little clip from it just to remind us of what we got up to. And then we'll talk about what happened. So here we go. We took a Coke can. We filled it with water. We boiled it. Maybe you did it on a hot plate in your classroom. Maybe you did it on a stovetop if you did it at home. Once we had that boil, we very carefully used a pair of tongs and we took that can and we flipped it upside down into a bowl of really, really cold water to see what would happen. So here we go. We've got the tongs. Here we go. We're flipping it over and let's see what happens to that aluminum Coke can. There we go. It crushed pretty much instantly. And I let it just drop in the water there. A little hard to pick up with the tongs after that, but you can see what happened. You can see that crushing, that implosion of the can. So let's talk really quickly about what happened there, why that happened. Let me take that video down and let's talk quickly about what happened. So we had that can. It had a little bit of water in the bottom and it had air. So those are the 2 things inside that can. We heated it up and the water started to boil. So some of that water went from a liquid to a gas. We call that water vapor. That water vapor, that gas, pushed all the air out of the pop can. So the air that was in the pop can got pushed out by that gas, that water vapor. When we turned that can upside down and we put it in the water, it made a seal with the water. So an airtight seal with the surface of that water. And in just a second, that water vapor turned back into a few drops of liquid. So when that happened, all this empty space was left. The space that was being filled by the water vapor was left open. And that water inside wasn't pushing as hard inside the can. And so the air pressure outside was great enough to push against the can and crush it. We call that an implosion. So nature likes, we saw that in another experiment we did. Nature likes equilibrium. It likes to have balance. So when we lost that pressure inside the can, the external pressure pushed against it. And we saw how powerful that air pressure can be when that can imploded. So very, very, very cool. We saw that it filled with water as well. And so the water was pushed up into the can as well due to that changing pressure. And we saw that with our candle experiment. When we had a candle, we blew it out in the cup of water and the water was sucked in from below with that changing air pressure. So that's what happened with our pop can. The water vapor quickly turned back to a liquid, leaving empty space with less pressure. The pressure of the air outside the can pushed in on the can and created that implosion where we saw our can basically collapse under that air pressure. Very, very cool. All right. I see that we had Becky join us backstage from the Ocean Conservation Trust. Becky, do you want to pop in and say hi again? Do you have something to share with us? Yep. Okay. I'm going to bring Becky in. Hey, Becky.
Oh, hello.
Sorry, no, I was just tuning in because I like to see the other half of the episode. So I didn't have anything else to add other than it's lovely to keep listening.
Okay.
That
Very
was
cool.
it.
All right. I thought maybe you wanted to share another cool fact with us, but that's cool. Thank you for tuning in. Okay. So let's take a look at this week's experiment. This week's experiment, I know sometimes we do them from my office. Sometimes Stu does them from his studio in Plymouth. This one is going to be from the kitchen because it could get a little bit messy. So I didn't want to do it in my office. So let me share my screen and let's talk about this brand new experiment where we are going to make a cloud. In fact, there's several ways to make a cloud, and we're probably going to experiment with 2 or 3 more of them over the course of the world's most exciting classroom. But for this one, we need some boiling water, some ice, some hairspray, a mason jar with a metal lid. That's really, really important to have that metal lid. A plastic lid doesn't work as well. So I boiled the water on my stovetop. You can see a little steam starting to come out from the kettle. And then I very carefully put about a cup of that boiling water into my mason jar. So about a cup. You can see it fogs up the surrounding area inside, a little bit of condensation. And then I decided, you don't have to do this, but I added a little bit of blue food coloring just so we could see the water below a little better. And if you remember our experiment from last week, we saw how quickly the food coloring spreads in the warmer water compared to the cold water. So you still have a week to get your answers in for that experiment, that 2-part experiment, and we'll see the answers for that next week. Now I sprayed some hairspray in the top, and I very quickly covered the lid as quickly as I could. I got that lid on really, really fast, and then I put some of that ice on top of that metal lid. So now if we look very carefully with our camera, you can see that we have something very similar to a cloud forming. Now it's not steam. We saw a little bit of steam come off when I first put the water in, but this is much heavier. You can see some condensation on the glass. So it's a little hard to see with the camera. I tried to zoom in as close as I could, but that steam, that water vapor is moving around inside of the jar. So this is an experiment where after you do it once, you put in a little bit of the hairspray, you can quickly take the lid off again. Oh, you can see a little bit of the movement there. You can see our clouds swirling around inside of that mason jar. Now you can take the lid off and add a little bit more hairspray because eventually the cloud, after about a minute, will start to dissipate. It'll start to fade away. So I added a little bit more so we could get a little bit of a boost to our experiment. And then I let the lid off to show you our cloud kind of drift away into the air of my kitchen. So let's watch this last little part here. We put in a little bit more of that hairspray. Sealed it off with a little bit of ice. And then we're going to watch our cloud drift away in just a moment here. So your task is to replicate this. Maybe you're going to try it in the classroom or in the kitchen at school, or maybe you'll try it in your kitchen at home. We want some pictures of you trying this experiment. And we also want you thinking about what happened. Why did the addition of the hairspray lead to this quick formation of our cloud? Here it is drifting away out of our mason jar. So why do these conditions create this really, really cool cloud inside of our mason jar? And as I mentioned, we're going to experiment a couple different ways of making clouds in a jar. So we'll have those in future experiments with the world's most exciting classroom. So there we go. You have 2 weeks to send in your pictures to classroom@darwin200.com. We want to see your clouds. We want to see how it turned out. And then we want to know why it happened. Why did changing those temperatures, why did the addition of that hairspray create those conditions for our cloud in a jar? So classroom@darwin200.com. Now we had a curiosity last week, curiosity of the week. I actually had 3 of them. So this was the biggest one, the fanciest one. This was the second one that we had. And then we had a smaller third one here that had some etching in it, some burnt art in it of a platypus. So I think most of you were probably yelling boomerang in your classrooms or at home, you'd be absolutely correct. But I did also ask you to tell us a little bit about what they're used for and where. So I gave it away. Australia is definitely where the Aborigine people have been making these beautiful boomerangs for years and then using them for hunting. So if you're going to be throwing something to try and hit an animal, if you miss, you don't want to have to chase down your tool. If it can come back to you, that is a pretty amazing tool to have. So if they're successful in the hunt with the boomerang, well, it's not going to come back. They're going to have to go retrieve the boomerang as well as hopefully what they were able to catch. But if you have a big miss when you throw your hunting tool, if it comes back to you, even just part of the way, you get to save some energy by using that. So this is, out of the three, I think this is my favorite one. It's a small one. It's got this beautiful etched platypus on it. And then you can see it was made from Australian black wattle, which is a type of tree. And then you can see where it was made in the Northern Territory. So very, very cool. So that was our curiosity from a week ago. It was a boomerang, and we had a few different ones to show you here, including this one, which had some very beautiful art on it. Now, the last thing we're going to do for today is we're going to take a look at a brand new curiosity, and we are going to have a living thing as our curiosity for today. So my office is in a basement, and I have a window, but it is so much nicer to have some greenery in your office. It makes you feel like you're outside a little bit, makes you feel, maybe not like you're always downstairs in a basement. So our curiosity for this week is this beautiful plant. Let me get it a little closer to the camera here for you. I absolutely love this plant. This is a new addition, maybe in the last couple of months, to my office. So I want you to take a look. I want you to look at the way it is kind of spilling out of its container. And I want you to have a think about what kind of plant this might be. And then I want you to have a think about where it might have come from. So I will give you a little bit of a hint because there are so many different species of plants all over the world. This is a very, very popular plant to be kept by people. And what they like to do is slowly prune and shape this plant over time. So that's a little bit of a clue for you as to what species this plant might be. So that is our curiosity for this week. I want to know if you can think of what kind of plant it might be and then where it may have come from. So, like I told you, we ran long today, which usually happens around here at the World's Most Exciting Classroom. We had visits to the ship off the coast of Chile. We went to France and met a Darwin leader. We went to Plymouth in the United Kingdom with the Ocean Conservation Trust at the National Marine Aquarium. And then we had experiments and Kahoots and curiosities. So get your answers to the curiosity by next week to classroom@darwin200.com. Send in your photos of the experiment to classroom@darwin200.com. You have 2 weeks to do that. And finally, we're going to wrap up by thanking our sponsors and our supporters. Now, I can see some people joining the call right now. For the next couple of weeks, it will be a little bit earlier, the World's Most Exciting Classroom, because of daylight savings time. So in North America, it's 9 o'clock right now. But in the UK, France, and other places, you don't change your time until the end of the month. So 1 o'clock UK time will be the time of the World's Most Exciting Classroom for the next couple of weeks, but we'll share that in our newsletter as well. So a shout out to our sponsors. Thank you so much for being with us, supporting the World's Most Exciting Classroom, supporting the Darwin 200. Let us wrap up by sharing a little video clip together. All right. Thank you to our sponsors and supporters. Those who just joined us now, you can rewind this event right now and you can tune in to the World's Most Exciting Classroom. It's ready and up there on the YouTube channel. So just rewind your scroller and you can see what we got up to today. Thanks, everyone.